Welcome to Sandy's Numerology. This is day 28 in lockdown. And for me, in lockdown, this is kind of quite normal. I live at home, I work from home, and I have been working from home since 1989. So being a person who doesn't, I do like going out, but I mean, would only go out maybe once a week, maximum twice a week for shopping. This is very normal for me. I'm very lucky. I've got a fabulous neighbor who offers to go and do my shopping for me. So I locked myself down a week before we went into official lockdown, did my shopping, and I've basically been out 3 times since the week before the 27th of March. So I hope everybody is now needs to not get edgy about wanting to go back to work, because we don't want a Donald Trump situation and America situation where things could land up getting really bad there. We don't need to have that here. I think under the circumstances, our president has handled this very well. And I think the majority of people have as well. I think it's been tough in the adjustment of the home environment. And if you've got kids and, doing schoolwork with the kids and working from home, this is everything that I said in my South Africa 2020 in restrictions and consolidation and boundaries, etc. We've got to stick to this, otherwise there's going to be a few people, a lot of people who are breaking the rules and making it worse for all of us, that could actually spread the disease. But now that Cyril has putting out more military from a process of, one, to assist in the lockdown and keeping people in lockdown. Number 2, there's a whole medical side to our military, which is to be able to assist not only in hospitals, but also to assist if the death rate increases, they'll be able to handle things from a burial perspective. And then there's another section of the military that is also going to be going in and doing fix-ups and repairs. And the minister spoke on 702 Eusebius's program, which is on podcast, and they spoke on the 22nd of April, so you can go and listen to the podcast, where she explains exactly what the military are going to be doing. Mentioning there was a lot of bridges in certain very rural areas that needed repairs. So the military is there. And I think that in anticipation of a further lockdown or extension on the lockdown, at the same time, how Cyril might also be opening certain gates of industries. He's already done a little bit on the mining, and he's going to do things in a phase by phase. But if he decides that he opens up and then it gets a little bit out of hand, the military are going to be there to actually assist in bringing us back into a restrictive environment. So people don't be rushing out or hoping that this will come to an end too soon. Rather safe than sorry, because if you want to push it and then you get ill or your family gets ill, then you're going to have to take responsibility yourself. So masks, double up your masks as well. Wash hands, be mindful of keeping your distance. And we'll get back to being able to hug and greet people as we did normally if we behave. That's important. So staying on the subject of South Africa, I'm going to look at the Solidarity Response Fund because it's now an official registered entity. And the Solidarity Response Fund was officially registered on the 25th of March, 2020. So the 2 is about how we join hands, how we work together, how we partner. Being a 5 in the 25 is about money, it's about power, it's about government, it's about corporations, and then it's also about politics, power games, mismanagement, financial mismanagement, fraud, corruption. The 25 adds to a 7, which is all about securities and insecurities. Being born in the month of March, it's about the collective and how it's meant to mother and nurture and care. It's got double hidden ones, which means fortune, great fortune. But unfortunately, it's got a 5 life path. And that for me is a huge concern. So the being born on the 25th, there's a 5 there. Add the March, add 2020, it adds to a 5, and it's in a 5 life path. So 5 life path internally is all about government, politics, money, power, corruption, mismanagement, fraud. That's a huge worry. And it's in that for a year. So the good thing about a 5 is about discovery and disclosure. So I would say to Cyril that this has got to be an open book, that you can't just be announcing that 5 million is going to go this place or 5 million is going to go there or whatever it is. You're going to have to actually be very specific because people are going to be fraudulently applying for money, and there's an internal possibility of the mismanagement from an inside perspective that are going to be involved in fraudulent activity. Now, I have already said that this was a fantastic idea. I've mentioned how we all as South Africans, if we put R1 in each, that we could raise 300 million if just 30 million people put in R1. But now I'm concerned. So I'm going to put this out as a heads up to Cyril Ramaphosa and a heads up to Gloria Tomato Sirobi, who is being put forward as the front person of the Solidarity Response Fund. And we've seen pictures of her, and she has been visible. And she is born on the 20th of September, 1959. So generally speaking, like her numbers very much. Her age adds to a 6, so she's in a year of responsibility. And from September of this year, she goes into the public eye in a big way. So hopefully we're going to be hearing from her, seeing her, and talking about where the money is going. Now, there are 2 other people involved in the company. There's an Adrian Hoof Enthoven. He is born on the 16th of August, 1969. He's got good numbers. He's got responsibility in his numbers. So he's in management year. He's in power year. He's in, got to be very careful, mismanagement. And he's got to be careful of who is approaching him that is not who they say that they are, wolves in sheep's clothing. The third person is Michael Mervyn Katz, born on the 16th of October 1944. Also a very solid man. And he's in a year where his age adds to a 3, so he's dealing with the collective, he's engaging, etc. But he's got to start watching, because his possession is going to be in jeopardy from 10/9/8, August of this year, and there's going to be some power games that are going to run over the next 2 years within the Solidarity Response Fund. That's a concern. He is going to be experiencing it. This is not him doing. So if I go back to the Solidarity Fund, that it's in a year, it's life path year 5, and there's definitely power games already that are starting in this company, and it's going to continue for a year. It's going into a year from next year, March. Its age will be 1, and it's got double hidden ones. There's going to be a loss of fortune here. And goes into a 6 personal year. It's about responsibility or irresponsibility. But it could take us another 5 years to actually find out about the mismanagement of the Solidarity Fund. So what I'm trying to do here, which I do with a lot of clients that come and see me, I give a heads up of what is there and how one can nip it in the bud, or be alert and be aware, and how you can actually kind of drive yourself through being aware of the possibilities. So on the Solidarity Response Fund, I'm giving you a heads up. There's going to be problems here if one is not managing this. Now, unfortunately, our history since Zuma came into power is of corruption. And where there's money, there's always trouble. I just don't know that this money is going to go to the right people. But I'm also going to say that there's going to be people that are not right to be receiving, and how they're going to be approaching to get the money for themselves. So there's a two-way street here. So the best part for the Solidarity Response Fund is financial management has got to be so strict, and one has actually got to call Standard Bank into a book that any money that is being released, and where it's being released and who it's being released to, that they be called into responsibility as well. That is kind of scary. And we don't need, with what is coming, where Zuma has now changed lawyers, and he is ready to go to court. So he is personally completely unsettled. He's in a legal year, and he's also in a year of severing ties and unseating himself in his personal front, because he's fired his one lawyer and he's now signed up with another lawyer. But this could also be a part of a strategy over the next year or so, where he might even change lawyers again. But it is said that he is going to disclose who was all a part of. But in the meantime, he's going to also have to take responsibility for monies that he accepted regarding the whole Danelle story and mismanagement of funds. And I think that he's going to be pointing fingers. And he's like Donald Trump. He's got a 5 life path. So he's very good at what did I do wrong, or making you look at everybody else and not at him. So that is kind of interesting as to where this will go. And in my earlier predictions, I said that by August of this year, a lot of corruption things are going to start surfacing, and Zuma obviously is within that pile. What is also interesting, because South Africa, we have our birthday on the 31st of May, and our age will be 59, and we'll be in a 4 personal year. And so I'm feeling that Cyril is probably going to lock us down further. And he's got so much work to do. He's in a personal 4 and a public 4. He's aligned with South Africa as much as his birthday in November goes to a double 5. So he's slightly ahead of South Africa, which is a good thing. But this whole, the word structure, restructuring, boundaries, industries, businesses, control, restriction, and the 4 is all about taking businesses back to a core, back to a foundation, which is also about South Africa, taking us down back to a foundation of what is functional, what is working. It is a time for fix-ups, repairs, renovate, so that we can restore. And it's the word manufacture. It's about earth, metal, and wood. Some of our minds has started to open up. A lot of people are going to be using the coronavirus as an excuse. But if we just took that out, actually, what is happening was going to be happening anyway for everybody. Some countries worse than others. But because we're in line with the global world, and we have a drag over, our 2020 May personal year will be a 4 until 2021, our age. So we'll be going into 2021 still with this word fix up, restore, manufacture, restructure, renovate, repair, boundaries, restrictions. That 5 public, which is quite interesting, because in my earlier video, this was about, in the Corona videos, about import and export and the lack thereof. And yet we are exporting certain things and we are importing certain things, and the import's got a lot to do with the medical. But we also, still fuel, coal, etc. The 5 public is also about the IMF, World Bank, etc. And I think a lot of people are jumping off the cliff about this all happening, and how we would lose our independence if we joined and took money from the IMF. So I think what is really interesting, because our age will be a 5, is how we are in the year of disclosure and discovery on a world platform. So we've had a nice compliment from the World Health Organization, where we have handled our coronavirus, but it's still in the public eye from the sense of politics, power games, management, mismanagement, discovery, disclosure. Zuma is going to probably be one of the people that will get onto that world stage with his finger pointing and blaming. But there's going to be many more things. So when you look at the people that the rating agencies, for example, I have a little bit of a skewed smile when I think of them, that where they can judge where every country should be downgraded. So it's a bit of a pot calling the kettle black, so to speak, because it's really what's going on around the world is whatever negative they put out lessens investment into South Africa, where you can't invest unless you're doing it on the markets or whatever. This 5 is going to open up on the 4 personal year about the facts. The IMF is going to watch how we are looking at our structures, how we are handling the running of the Eskoms, what we do about SAA. And as much as it's dead in the water, it's got a revival and a survival opportunity if handled correctly. And it needs to have a big injection, and the government cannot be injecting that right now because nobody is flying. If there's anything that is flying, it's very little. It's kind of more emergency things and repatriating people and bringing in medical supplies and that. So I just feel that on the negative, because we're born in the month of May, that's a 5. Our age will be a 5. It actually brings in a triple 5s, that there's going to be a lot of problems and a lot of changes that need to take place. And there's this massive fraud triangle that we've had since Zuma came into power, and we will start to edge out of that when we are 61. So that is in 2022. But I'm just feeling that Cyril's got to understand that the problems that were there before, and he's announced that we've lost over 500 billion because of Zuma. There's another 5 there again. He can't step away from being tainted. So his going forward is now not to save what doesn't work. His job is to make sure of the financial management of this 500 billion that is coming in, that he's allocating. And it's very easy to say allocating, but is it going to get to where it needs to go? And I think that that is the only negative, that it's going to be about corruption, it's going to be about fraud, it's going to be about mismanagement. But there is discovery and disclosure for 2 years, starting this May now, and it'll run until 2022, May, June, July, August. But the 5 on a positive is about change. And let's hope that we're going to have change from not only President Cyril Ramaphosa, but change from the people and change the way we do business. Please go and look at my South Africa 2020 video to understand. Go and look at my videos with Cyril and ANC and all of the COVID videos. Thank you for watching Sandy's Numerology. Stay safe, wash hands, keep distance. Please wear masks.